just make my family loco. They want their treasure, so they get my pleasure from my grill. You can see 'em, you can eat 'em.
Yo, father.
Yes, child.
I have a semester project due in 2 days, and I haven't even started it yet.
Such a procrastinator. What's it on?
It's on the trade city of Cairo. I know it's located on the continent of Africa in the country of Egypt, at 30 degrees north and 31 degrees east longitude and latitude. I also know that empires such as the Fatimid Caliphate, the Umayyad Caliphate, the Arabs, and the Ottomans have all ruled over the city, and that it was a stop along the Trans-Saharan trade route, as well as being connected to the Indian Ocean trade route by the Red Sea, and that also facilitated the Nile River for trade. But what else?
Well, it looks like you know quite a bit already, and lucky for you, I took AP World History when I was your age. Cairo, or as the Fatimids called it, Al-Cairo, meaning the triumphant, was one of the important trade cities I had to research. Let's see, in its heyday, its population consisted mainly of Arabic people and the pre-existing Egyptians who lived there, of course. Its Arab population increased when Islamic caliphates invaded Egypt in 639 AD, and the primary religion was Islam. But Sunni Islam. Gotta remember that.
Oh, okay. And I know that in modern 21st century Cairo, the city is still a majority Islamic, and then about 10% of the population practices Christianity under the Coptic Orthodox Church. You keep mentioning their heydays too, but what about them?
Well, child of mine, during the Fatimid period from 909 to 1171, Egypt went through a massive heyday. When the Fatimids made Cairo their capital in about 969 AD, it became an important epicenter for Islamic culture.
Alright, but were there any region-specific items that they traded?
All sorts of things, like luxury goods for the most part, but they traded stuff like wood carvings, pottery, glassworks, metalworks, textiles, and jewelry. Gotta be blinged up. Unfortunately, the Fatimid Empire came to an end when General Salah al-Din declared the end of the Fatimid Caliphate and established the Ayyubid dynasty. Ayyubid! In 1171, after repelling a crusader army that had reached the gates of Fatimid Cairo. Though when the Ayyubids took over, the Egyptians started producing more enameled glassworks and metalworks, which they also traded.
I think I'm starting to get this, but could you show me some pictures with significance to Cairo?
Why, of course, kiddo. Right here is a picture of a ceramic bowl that was made around the Fatimid period, when pottery was pretty common to be traded at that time period. And here's a picture of the Al-Azhar Mosque, which was built in 971 to 973, right in the middle of Cairo during the Fatimid period, which kind of made Cairo stick out as more of an Islamic epicenter of high cultural significance. Cairo, in fact, was one of the most important places for the spread of Islamic culture. Also, right here is a picture of one of the Coptic manuscripts that was probably from the late Fatimid or Ayyubid period, possibly the early Mamluk period, for the people who still practiced under the Coptic church. And here's a picture of a pendant that was made during the Fatimid period, when a lot of jewelry and stone metalwork was made then during that time. And again from the Fatimid period, here is a folio from the Blue Quran, and it was very important because Islam was such a dominant religion at that time. And here is a ewer with an inscription from the Ayyubid period, and during this period more cloisonné, almost enameled glass was very common, along with more metalwork than just exclusively like textiles. 639 was when Islamic caliphs first invaded Egypt, and Egypt was initially under the rule of governors acting in the name of caliphs until 661, when they were then ruled by the Umayyads of Damascus.
This lasted until 747 when they were overthrown. Egypt was then under the control of the Abbasid Caliphate until 969, when the Fatimid Caliphate of Tunisia established its capital at Cairo. There was a heyday during this time period in which people were prosperous and goods could be traded. The craftsmanship of this time was rather spectacular, and a lot of luxury goods such as fine textiles, jewelry, glasswork, wood carvings, metalworks, etc. were produced and traded across the Mediterranean Sea and Indian Ocean, and many craftsmen marked their work to show how esteemed they were. This ended when the general Salah al-Din declared the end of the Fatimid Caliphate and the beginning of the Ayyubid dynasty. Under Ayyubid rule, Egypt went through a period of vast architectural productivity, and many religious institutes were built dedicated to Sunni education as opposed to the Shiite of the Fatimid Caliphate. The Ayyubids were overthrown by the Mamluk Turks in 1250 and was again ruled under the protection of the Abbasid Empire until 1517, when Egypt was seized by Sultan Selim I and became part of the Ottoman Empire. This lasted until about the late 18th century, early 19th century, when the French army conquered Egypt under Napoleon.